Welcome back to the Ministry of Common Sense. We like to put new ideas, better ideas to the test. Today I'm joined by Katie Lyndon from Exercise and Sports Science Australia. It's the peak body for exercise in Australia. And they want the Australian government to act GST on exercise physiology. Katie, great to see you here. I must say, out of the box, I think changing bits of the GST is always complex, but I want you to put that case. I mean, firstly, what is exercise physiology? What is it used for?
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Exercise physiology is an allied health discipline where university qualified experts in exercise programming and prescription. And every week, our exercise physiologists work with more than 300,000 Australians to help them manage their chronic disease, illness and injury. So that means prescribing exercise for people living with diabetes, cardiovascular disease, mental illness to help improve their health, to help keep them out of hospital and to keep our health system sustainable.
Now, we know that sitting's like the new smoking, and I do spend a lot of this program standing because I prefer to stand than sit, but I'm sitting now. But that's the point, isn't it? We've got to get up and move. We've got to keep doing things. Otherwise, things are not going to work.
That's right. And part of the specialism of exercise physiologists is to help people change their behaviour and embed these lifestyle improvements so that they can optimise their health outcomes. And particularly for an ageing population, working with older Australians to help them with their function, to reduce their falls risk and to help avoid hospitalisations.
Gee, that falls risk thing's real. I mean, my dad died about 6 weeks ago and he was falling all the time. Because he spent too much time, God bless him, but he spent too much time on his backside, basically. And so keeping moving, keeping active, knowing, look, we all have days where we're a bit limited physically, but it is important to find ways to move. So why take GST off it? Why is cost an issue for people in this space?
Yeah, so the intent of GST legislation was not to tax essential healthcare.
Ah, right.
So exercise physiology is an essential health service, and we don't think it's fair for Australians to be paying tax to access exercise physiology. It penalises Australians who are trying to look after their health, and it actually creates downstream impact on the health system by reducing access and equity to this essential health service.
I mean, it's hard enough. It's hard enough to get out of bed on a cold morning and go for that walk at this time of year. And then when you throw in the fact that, and I got to go to the exercise physio, I don't know what it costs, and then I got to pay GST. It's just another excuse people are using.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So people are paying 10% more on the service cost of exercise physiology, unlike every other Medicare recognised allied health profession. And it's purely a legacy and a timing issue. So when the GST legislation was introduced in 1999, exercise physiology was an emerging discipline. So at the time, we weren't listed on the list of professions exempt from GST. But since then, we've been recognised by Medicare, the Department of Veteran Affairs, private health insurers, state work cover authorities. But the legislation doesn't reflect that now.
Okay, so this actually is a common sense suggestion. You've got me convinced. I voted for that GST legislation. I was in the parliament in those days. And that's why I'm saying, carving things out. But you're right. Health services, essential health services, are already carved out. There's a discrimination against you guys.
That's right. And this legislation was introduced almost a quarter of a century ago.
Yep, wow.
And there's been limited change since then. There's been no change to the 21 other health services listed as exempt. So we're calling for a contemporary approach and a practical, pragmatic approach to ensuring that Australians can access essential healthcare and not be penalised that 10% tax.
Okay, so Katie, you know the complexity. The states have got to agree to do this. So you're going to have to go and talk to the states, the territories, get them on board. Have you done any of that?
Yes, so we've been engaging broadly across the system from state and territory governments through to the community, and we have got a groundswell of support. We're now about to launch a petition to Parliament to axe the tax, and we're calling for community to support us by signing that petition at axetax.com.au. We're aiming for 50,000 signatures so we can get an impact, and we're really calling on the federal government that it's time to make this sensible change and for the Minister of Health to table a determination in Parliament to exempt exercise physiology from GST.
But he could actually do this by a memo coming on his desk and that he could actually just sign off on it. He actually could do this tomorrow, I think. I mean, sure, it may not be mentioned in legislation, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of delegated authority where somebody from the health department would have the power to add or detract things on that list. That's my guess. So he should be able to do this by signature.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Gary. And whilst there's been little change to the GST since it was introduced in 99, there was a similar case back in 2018 with feminine hygiene products where a determination was made to exempt that from GST. So similar in that we believe that access to exercise physiology is essential, that this determination just makes sense for the government.
So, Katie, tell me again, just let's go through exercise physiology. How did this go from being emerging 25 years ago to actually being a recognised discipline? Everybody except, it seems, the tax office is recognising it. How do people become exercise physiologists? What do you do?
Yeah, so our professions are trained at university. They complete typically a 4 to 5 year degree specialising in exercise prescription and programming. So they have deep understanding of the anatomy, the physiology, and also how important it is to individualise exercise programs so that we don't exacerbate health conditions and we really consider the unique circumstances of individuals and their risk factors as well. And with over 700,000 potentially preventable hospitalisations each year in Australia, our professions work every day to support Australians to keep them well in the community, reduce avoidable ED or emergency department presentations, and improve their quality of life through the power of exercise.
So this helps people, say, fall management. As you get older, you've got to know how to fall, that sort of thing. Is that the sort of stuff you do?
Yes, so muscle strength, functional training to improve the transition to how you undertake your daily activities, working with clients on their goals, whether that being able to lift their grandchildren or to exercise with their children, personalising the exercise program to the unique needs of the individuals that they work with. And we know that about 1 in 5 Australians are currently living with 2 or more chronic health conditions. So it's not as simple as just moving more. We need to move safely and based on science and evidence with the appropriate expert advice.
So everyone's got problems with their sciatic nerve. That drives you crazy, pains down the legs, all these sorts of things. But I'm not going to deal with absolute symptoms here, but I like that. How to lift your grandchild properly. I guess that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right. And that's those unique motivators to keep people exercising and maintain this lifestyle change to improve their health and their engagement and productivity in society as well.
So your profession, people in it, take the GST off, are they going to adjust the prices up or down? I mean, are they going to respect the fact that the tax is axed?
Absolutely. So the intent is that removing the GST removes the 10% tax that's applied on the cost of the service. So that's what we're requesting here from the government, is that removal of GST to align with the intent of the legislation that essential healthcare is not taxed.
Well, I think it's a good argument. Intent of the legislation is really the key to modifying the legislation. What was it intended to do? No tax on health-related services, as you say, the feminine hygiene products were dealt with some time ago now, to bring a bit of common sense into this. And have we got a lot of exercise physiologists around? You say hundreds of thousands of people make the use of the services. So a lot of people would be advantaged by this.
That's right. So Exercise and Sports Science Australia represents almost 9,500 accredited exercise physiologists across Australia. We have a strong pipeline and a growing workforce, and in an era of increasing health system demand and health workforce constraints, unleashing the potential of exercise physiologists to support community is just a practical, sensible measure.
We like that. Practical, sensible measures. That's why it's called the Ministry of Common Sense. Thank you for being here today. Really good to talk with you. And I think that puts a good case forward. What do you think? 133 882. That's Katie Lyndon from Exercise and Science Australia. Sports Science Australia. I think it actually makes sense what you're saying because of the intent of the legislation. But, so give me the form. I'll sign it now. Get Mark Butler on the line. I'll just say, come on, Mark, get a note, delegated authority, get this cleaned up real fast. Make a decision. That's what I say.
Yeah, and you can get on board at axtax.com.au. It takes 2 minutes for a signature, so we'd appreciate your support.
No, you've done that well. Okay, thanks, Katie. Great to meet you. What do you think? 133 882, the 4BC open line.